Yeah, so I'm gonna do a Tower of God review. This is for... I didn't see anyone on my feed ping back to me. Yeah, I'm just gonna poke. I did email marketing today. I'm just trying it out again. Because you kind of have to do that. This is the type of stuff that employers are interested in. A lot of the stuff that people are looking for. I might go back to for something that can get me sold. Alright, this type of, let's look at some computer programming, right? That's kind of what people are talking about. Most people, this is why a lot of people want jobs that don't require to do email marketing, because that's what they want. They need to do more than just that. But that's what they want. Most people want to avoid doing that. People just ask me, huh? People want, that's why there's a lot of requirements. People want you to do these kind of things. It's not in there, right? They want you to, you can't play it safe. Here in the, and you live in a society that kind of punishes that kind of behavior. Right? They ban people. There's the invention of ad block has actually been very detrimental to society. That's why I like when I play a video these days, especially if it's like entertainment, I'll at least let it off. No, that's how artists don't get compensated. They don't make any money. You can't just expect the advertisers to give money. Who's gonna pay the advertisers, right? Like, it doesn't work like that. No, you have to pay at some point, right? That's why I'm not in advocation for, like, a high amount of followers. I'm for advocation of people who actually pay stuff. That's the whole point of even doing YouTube videos, right? You can roast people, but as long as they get their paycheck, doesn't matter. Yeah, no, seriously, Mark Dice has, like, what, a couple mil? PewDiePie's got 111 mil. Do they earn money from that? Right? They need to pay you. Otherwise, what's the point of having fans? It's just fake news, right? So that's why I'm concerned. So, like, I started email marketing again because I'm not good at school. This is one of the few things I do, right? This is something Asian people do all the time. Their culture basically builds around that. Assuming they still do it. I don't really like talking about them anymore because they seem to want to move away from that model because my mom's not that kind of individual. I do email marketing to the extreme. I talk to people, strangers randomly, right? That's the same as email marketing. Yeah, you kind of have to do that to start your business. Door-to-door sales is like it's like a pre-evolution of email marketing, right? This type of stuff employers are looking for. And I look at that and I don't see that, like, for a computer programmer, you don't have to do this. Like, well, that's fantastic. If I can get that job, I don't have to pull out, because no one pokes you anymore. And that says to the larger economic health of the country, right? People are very venomous towards the concept of selling yourself. How's anyone going to buy your product, right? In your company, say you're Google, right? You're Microsoft or Amazon. Who's going to buy your shit? Right? So here's what happens, right? The sales team that doesn't do this kind of aggressive shit, they don't get any sales. They get pity from other cities. They're not earning, and they're not really selling any units. No, they're not selling any unit, and that's why the job recruiter can't tell you straight up, right? The sales team can't tell you straight up. They all see it, right? They're just seeing charity money. Amazon's been getting charity money for... Why do you think they haven't made money for the last decade or something? They've been getting charity money for the last 12 years, right? So they're still functioning, but it's not money that's because they bought a unit. It's because the customers just think it's cool. Now, who's the one doing the donations? Doesn't mean there aren't any legitimate sales. It happens. So here's how the donation model works. They undersell the product, so it looks like the company takes a loss. Yeah, and the venture capitalists are the ones that upfront the money, right? They give a high influx of cash. It happens early on, right? So you're basically allowed to post fake sales data because the venture capitalists make up for the lost profits. That's basically what happens. Yeah. That's not fake news. Venture capital, what they do is the customers buy more money from the venture capitalists. They get more money from and they poke the U.S. government, of course. It's very much a pyramid scheme on how sales works. Now, would a sales team tell you that? No, not really. Now, why would that happen? How would they get people to pay up? Because the sales team would tell them, well, hey, they tell some people that are in the know, hey, look, we're not really selling them at the market rate. right? We're underselling it. That applies for Apple too. We're selling at a loss. Yeah, so what they do is a few group of people, they just poke them and they ask them to make the sales back. I'm serious. That's what they do. They buy it, they have a few clients, they buy more. So how much does Apple make in, let's say, this is believable. So here's how you do this. Here, how this I call them the James Bond more. How much does Apple make back during the first quarterly revenue, right? Let's look at Apple's Q1, right? Ever wonder why there's a wealth inequality gap? It's because those billionaires have to use that money. Some of these rich people have to use that money to make up for the loss of sales for another company. That's their purchasing power. We have been lying to each other for a long time, and Bernie's been built based on that lie. The reality is 80% that comes from of those sales are like profits back come from billionaires who have to purchase back, right? That's why they have a business. No, seriously, let's look at this. So let's say Apple makes 500 grand. 300 of that grand comes from a rich millionaire. Either indirectly in the form of resources or something else, a group of millionaires. It does not come from the lower class. They don't pay for shit. I'm telling you, it's much cheaper. It's arbitrary. Because they're already lying about how much it costs to make the units. They're already lying about what the profit margins are and what the actual selling price is. You can get away with this shit. That's why there's the top 1%, because that's the joke. Oh, you should ask. You should ask if it's charity money, arguably. You should ask for the whole supply chain operations. Go ask. The entire sales team is going to freeze. That's what you're supposed to, that's the whole joke. It's like, well, that's a stretch. No, ask for the paperwork. This is super cheap. So let's look at the Apple phones, right? They're a couple $100, right? They don't have to cost that much. Reality is if the salespeople would put transparent data. No, it doesn't. Tim would still make his profit margins. The reason why it costs so much is because they're lying all the time. It all started with the first iPhone model. They were selling at a loss. So what they do is they bump the price of the iPhone up to keep up with their insane sales figures. I'm serious right now. If we had a normal functioning sales team, Tim would make the same profit margins with iPhone 1 costs for the iPhone 13 model. This is why I don't like talking about this shit, because society loves lying all the time. Look at my Twitter feed. Breitbart acts like a bunch of communists now. Where it counts, right? You're Breitbart. I'm blocked doing email marketing. They're banning shit that helps. That's the only way companies can make money. Why are you banning stuff that helps companies make money? Don't you want to get a college degree job? That's what's wrong with the whole system. You're uncomfortable compensating people so they can live, so they don't live on the streets? No, customers deserve to get called out. They rely on a select few people who are millionaires who are in on the know from the sales team to basically spend on these companies. So they give the illusion of making profit returns on their product. It's way cheaper because you don't even know how much it costs to make the materials because you're relying on the sales team, aren't you? For the cost at the end of the day? You don't know. So it's like Tim's like, well, we can make more and more money. Well, they're selling a lie to Tim too. You're only doing a higher profit margins because you think the materials cost more. They don't. That's the loss from the first iPhone model. I could be unqualified saying this. I consider this a conspiracy theory. I just see a lot of evidence of this. So the top 1%, so these billionaires from the top 1% purely exist to make up for the profit margins, profit losses for the Silicon Valley companies. They're basically designed to spend their resources on these companies so they can prop up the false sales figures. That is why it exists. Now, if we had a transparent sales team that actually told the truth from any of these big Fortune 500 companies of how much these units cost and how much units they're making, I think it's no sales for 5 years. If they actually told the truth about this shit, we wouldn't have a wealth income inequality gap. Yeah, so the job of the top 1%, right? And no one wants to talk about it. Right? Because what they do to make their money back, the people who are spending for the consumers that are they're trying to make up for the loss for each unit sold, right? they get government benefits. They get food stamps that are flexible. They're getting all sorts of tax breaks, all sorts of OSHA favoritism, right? And how they make this clean is they set up a business, right? I'm serious right now. This stuff's real. Right, because Amazon made this possible, right? And it's not, they're not the only company that did this. Everyone else has been doing this. We're selling at a loss for the first 10 years. The joke is to get sales for your products is that you make up for the loss, right? For each unit sold for underselling too much. No, I want to see sales receipts. See, don't ask for computer data. That's easy to hack and manipulate. Do not ask for video feed that doesn't say anything because that's within the office. What should happen is what's going on outside the corporation, right? Am I seeing like actual sales transactions? Sure, there's a couple hundred units. I bet you that's real. But like, does that reflect the actual figure sold? People can't keep track of that anymore. See something physical. You can't keep track of hundreds of thousands of units sold. It's too much work. That's why you rely on digital. But you can. But it's within that margin of like it's too much to keep track of that you can get some funny work, right? Yeah, and the fact they're banning email marketing is like that's just one way. That's probably the only legitimate way to physically verify, right? Saying, "Hey, look, I bought your unit." Where's the sales? That's why he's forced to sell the iPhone at higher and higher cost. Yeah, I'm serious. They don't want to talk about it. I'll show you where the scheme is. You remember that billionaire that went broke? He did it for a reason. He's making way more than that. His goal is to spend his billions to make up for Apple's actual Q1 quarterly earnings. And he made a deal with the UFOs to make sure the economy functions, right? And if you've ever watched like the manga Promised Neverland, there's certain promises. There's deals like this. Like, okay, a lot of these Fortune 500 companies, they're not really making any money for the last decade, but we realize there's an essential need for these businesses to remain in the economy. It's hilarious as fuck. I just look at these people, I'm like, you guys are all gaslighting yourselves. You gaslight yourselves too much as a society.
Well, Stu tells Nick, well, my stomach's not.
Alright, for Etsy, they're all banning this stuff, right? It's one of the only, and I'm still gonna do it, of course. How else do you make money? My dad, right? He did this, right, when he first started out contracting. He doesn't want to talk about it. Right? He did door-to-door sales. He was like door-to-door really aggressively because someone buys your product eventually. How else do you get stuff? That's what advertising is, right? It's just a really painful way of doing digital door-to-door sales. Funny commercial, doesn't matter. It's still a painful form of commercialism. There's no other way to make money. Look, you got to do everything. You got to. If I can't make money for my email marketing, I'm gonna have to go door to door, right? What are you supposed to do when you're desperate? You're down on your luck, right? Someone has to buy your shit eventually, right? Q1 early. So let's look at the financial statements. It's tough. I don't have the best people skills, but the joke is it's always painful to do door to door, right? There is no way to make it nicer. So let's see. Apple made... Where are the profit margins here? I'm not seeing the profit margin. I don't understand the data. Okay, net income. 3 months, right? Let's go look at this. I'm going to see if I can understand this data. I'm not... Accountants can lie a lot, by the way, and it's easy to lie. All you have to do is play dumb and not remember what inventory costs are for the sales thing, because you can't do the cost yourself. So here's we got 123,945, right? So you're making like what? Let's say net sales 9,045. 3 months ended, right? It's up to the billionaire to compensate you $80,000 extra dollars, right? And you give it to the sales team, right? And then in turn he asks the government to give you cash, right? That's what happens when you invest in fiat. You can just make up bullshit. The billionaire, of course, has no time to keep track of this. Because he's like, I'm looking at my digital spreadsheets. It looks pretty good. You just need something that appears to look the most solid. That doesn't mean you have to make profit runs. Legitimate one. Because it's, and Steve Jobs came from a royal family, right? So you can play these games. You don't have to look at it. Net income, right? 34,000. So I guess they're making 34,000 the first 3 months, I think. I could be wrong. Anyways, billionaire has to compensate you for the expenses too, actually, sometimes. Yeah, you have to accept certain people because they're going to be your sales team someday. They do weird shit like me. So here's the net sales: 120,000, 11,000, 100,000, $439. Let's go with that. Right? All this, you're a billionaire, goes and compensates you. Some of the cost, 50%. In return, the salespeople collectively vouch for the U.S. government to give him to be his biggest client. Or your joke is he's your own client. Ever wonder why you get some of these billionaires? Just one guy, he's just the CEO. He's the only one running the company. Ever wonder where you get these weird people come from? It's because the sales team from the Fortune 500 company is all bullshit about how many units they're selling and what the actual cost of goods are, and what the profit and you know what the cost, how much you should sell it to make a return. That's why to make the company exist, the price of the unit has to get more and more expensive every year. Yeah, people play this game all the time. It's a corporate short. People who write Dilbert, right? They're not going to talk about it. They may, you know, because they do it to protect their friends. Apple would have been more profitable. At least so. Alright, so then Tim gets forced to reinvest more and more into these materials, right?
Yeah.
He's not actually free to spend these billions on his own. Same for Amazon.
No,
He probably got $1 billion and then saved his money because he suspected there's something weird about the company.
they just scaled back.
Yeah, they all do this. So that's why the wealth inequality exists. It's not because of the rich. It's because the sales team and everyone else in the office bullshit too much. Right? They're not doing any sales. This is what happens when you don't have actual sales going on. You have the wealth inequality gap. All these millionaires and upper millionaires are basically exist to basically make up for a loss in the Q1 and Q2, Q3, Q4 quarterly earning reports. And so in return, the government, right, which is one of the biggest schemes,
Is that the birthday?
and other sales teams, they help compensate by making up for lost sales profit margins. And then there's where these offshore bank accounts come from, right? Some of the offshore accounts, which help people dodge taxes, also have to be clients.
Like cupcakes, and then there's a strawberry.
Yeah,
one,
that's what they do.
chocolate
All right, that's one of the reasons Jeffrey Epstein became so popular, right? Because his goal is basically to spend his money, right, and to make up for the loss in these companies, and that's why they have to visit. You have to, like, and I worked for like some other guy who was doing email marketing. He had to do the same thing. They're banning a lot of shit now. It's way harder to make money than it used to be because no customer likes being bothered. Everyone's got a safe space. Look, it's fantastic to have a safe space, but here's the problem, right? It also means being safe from adverts, right? So how do you make money? Now you have a problem. If they're too sensitive, right? The more politically sensitive people are, the less likely you can make sales on anything, period.
And you know, that's a
It's a sad relationship. Now, if we can only make those two independent rather than dependent, that's a different story. Because being offended by adverts even showing is like being attacked by a right-winger. It is. You ask. It feels like it. Look, I got this. You're blocked, right? She thinks it's a right-wing scourge. She feels like she's attacked by a far left-wing mob as a right-winger.
I know.
Well, who else would write blocked when you say no, it's not? Right? Who else would you get triggered by? Like, I'm hearing no, it's not outside, but they're stupid people. No, seriously. Who would say blocked? A left-winger. The only other person you would say blocked is a left-winger. You are treated basically as that opposing side.
Oh, that's...
I'm seeing a lot of stupid people outside saying, no, it's not overhearing me. No, seriously, look at yourself in the mirror. AlderWood Mall. Don't just look at your hairdo before you get up in the morning. Actually take a look at yourself personally, like who you are as an individual. Just see how ugly you are. Seriously, who else, which other group of people do you react saying blocked? A right-winger. I'm serious. Hey, if anyone wants to debate with me, please do. Hey, don't be a pussy. Actually come and talk to me.
You're fine. I'm just really tired. I was so tired last night. I hung up with you.
I am being treated as a far right winger right now if we're talking about the fact businesses can't make money. Seriously, debate with me. I love to have a discussion.
Yeah.
Oh no, you know I'm right. This silence proves it.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if I'm a schizophrenic, you shouldn't say nothing.
I'm off tomorrow, but we're going over to my house. Meeting a wood floor guy for an estimate.
You're proving my point. You're proving my point about this. I'm sorry. Look, you can't just expect employers to hire you and then not make any sales or units that day. I'm so sorry. Who do you think pays you? The customer. Whoever's criticizing me, I urge you to talk with me. Otherwise, grow the fuck up. Why go to school? People can criticize me for how weird I am, but if you're not willing to do this stuff to this extent, at least for sales, why even get hired? Oh, you don't no employer is gonna hire you. Well, seriously. No employer is gonna hire you unless you collect emails, right? To some extent. You can't just be like, I hate people. I'm gonna roll my eyes at this fat guy. You can't do that. I'm treated as a far-right Christian. This is, if you ask people to start a business or email market, you are treated as a far-right winger. It doesn't matter what your viewpoints are. That's why I tell people not to take politics seriously. Unless they're giving you money, you as a social media influencer, unless they're giving you actual cash and buying your shit, you shouldn't take them seriously, period. This is all virtue signaling that provides no monetary value to anyone. That's Breitbart. Okay? Money is a demonstration of real-time tested value, right? You can buy food, okay? You can buy asparagus. You can buy a television set. I'm willing to have a debate with my family because they don't like talking like me. Because you have to do this. Probably not this far. Like, look at this. That was a terrible halftime show. All there was a bunch of people. These are the same as left-wingers, right? These are right-wing people. Since you banned me, I should roast you guys. Right, you're blocked, right? You're not actually serious. Right? To attack at every opportunity, whatever that means. So a lot of people like this. You ask. Look, none of these people really mean anything, right? Because Sure, you can post it from, but are you helping them compensate them? Are you helping paying for their school bills? What are you doing? Like, where the fuck are the Facebook fans doing? Are you paying for their bills? What are you doing? Look, this is a nice drawing. You're an artist. You're not doing anything. Are you paying them anything? All you're doing is just virtue signaling. How is this not virtue signaling? How are these likes and loves? Virtue, not virtue signaling. Because you're not actually doing anything for these people. Look at these comments. You're not paying them anything that they're worth. You're not paying them anything. What are they getting paid for? Oh, I love to have a discussion about this. How can any... Seriously. Okay, I can't find any programmers. I guess there's no jobs anymore for these people. I don't even know if I'll ever get a job again. That's why I've decided I'm going to tell the truth about this. Because people need to know the truth about this. This does not bring you value. I mean, they're hiring, don't get me wrong. That's a great thing. I wish I could get this job. But look at how insane the requirements are. People are just going to go be passive-aggressive now. Who's going to fulfill this? 7+ years of BS? These are 5 days ago. Senior statistical programmer. Look, they're still hiring. Right, CAD, CNC, right? NX, Master Camp. Just, I don't know. Look, that's fine. You hire people like that, but you can't rely on that forever. The employer paycheck. You can't rely on the fact that they're just going to automatically sell units forever, right? That's why I like these jobs. Because you don't have to do this awkward shit where people just turn away. People complain about them too, but at least, like, you don't have to run the risk of, hey, look, I'm not going to sell anything, or I'm going to make $0 tomorrow, right? Right? That's why the job requirements are convoluted as possible, because they're nice, comfy jobs. You don't have to go ask a person, hey, buy my shit. So, like, what that means for people who don't. For people who don't have to do that, that means they have to be more knowledgeable, right? That was what the commonly accepted trade-off is. They have to learn shit really fast. Yeah, you don't have to. And that's why people love these jobs, because they can, in essence, just slack around because they're not doing sales work. Yeah. This stuff, look. 10 sort, whatever. I don't know what the hell any of this is, right? You need to sell to make any of these salaries work, right? I don't understand society sometimes. I'm thinking of changing my product line, but I need, so why do you work these jobs in the past? So you can get, like, companies with more established backing. No, seriously, you do that because those companies can get more clients, right? You get better cheddar, right? Why wouldn't you? That's what it was back then. Now we don't even have any opportunities for billionaires to actually spend their billions or get richer now. They just have a fake system of people who don't actually want to tell the truth to anyone. Right? Everything's down to the sales unit. It doesn't matter how big or size or scale, scope of the company. Right? You need a... What is this? Right? So this is the tragic part. You're not expected to, and that's why people like these jobs. You're not expected to do those awkward shit. That's the worst part of all, because there's no guarantee. Right? People always fib on their purchases. People don't want to live in the age where you don't have a fixed salary cap, right? That's basically what schools are there for. Give a guarantee that, hey, when you make 50 grand, it stays 50 grand. Companies don't operate that like real life. That is why people go to school. Because that's what sales is like. I think people in the sales team have been trying to make it as fixed as possible by creating this upper 1% class. And not everyone in the sales team is consciously aware of what they're doing. But that is what they do. Anyways, one of the biggest companies with like the biggest potential for growth, if they want to work together with them, because right now we're talking about a way to get free resources, right? It's Google actually. I'm doing an anime review, so this looks pretty cool. He's getting trapped and shit. I don't know. I don't know what to talk about this. So the artist is doing some pretty good animation. I'm being very flexible. Dude, like this is fantastic art, but how much money are these artists making, right? But this is commercialism. How do you do it? You have to do email marketing if things get bad, right? It doesn't matter how big you are. Alex Jones, right? Young Turks, Anderson Cooper, CNN, MSNBC. You have to do this shit when things get really nasty, right? On your company financials. Right, so who pays the bill? It's the top 1% that no one wants to talk about. They're the ones that vouch for the government to give the other billionaires that pretend they're making money. I don't think anyone's been making profits lately. Or been making money in the last couple of years. Because this feels too dishonest right now. That's my gut feeling. People are too ashamed to talk about it. The sales team advocates for it, and only the smart ones figure it out. Yeah, I'm not saying you can't, but programming is the luxury job. Because you can earn 6 figures without doing sales. That was a big no-no back then. That was a commissioned salary. You look at the past. Right? Weird people like me existed all the time. I'm happy to have a discussion with anywhere in this mall or anywhere else on this topic. Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Thomas Aquinas, Leonardo da Vinci. They always challenge the system. They usually get bought off in a functioning system, right? And they integrate and then shut up, right? They don't change their weirdness. Right? What's the point of a customer, right? If they don't make a profit, right? So the customer, so it's a supply chain this is why supply chain's a fascinating field, but none of the supply chain people talk about this. Because it reveals kind of how the pyramid scheme that makes up the US economy works, right? So in order to keep the system functioning, the wealth to keep this profit model coming. Now, okay, and it starts at the person not willing to compensate the artist. So if you don't want to compensate the artist, that's fine. Have a bigger wealth inequality gap. Fill with more millionaires and billionaires whose goal is to spend their money in a strategic manner to make up for the profit losses for a lot of big companies. That's what you do. That's just the way life is. If you hate the wealth inequality gap, you need to address this. The fact that you're not compensating manga artists, the fact that you're attacking email marketing, right? If you're a customer that hates being poked, you really do need to address this, because no one's going to hire. You can get pissed off at it, fine. Get pissed off at the sales team, that's fine, that's normal. No one likes each other. But you know something? You still need to do it. You need to do this weird shit. And if you can't sell, maybe you want to be their friend later on so you can use them as a business partner. It does lead there. Stop pretending like it doesn't, American people. This was LinkedIn done painfully in IRL. That's why LinkedIn was made, because people didn't want to do it like that anymore. You do it when things go bad. How can rappers make money? They have to do this. You get comfortable, you don't have to do it anymore, but you still have to contemplate it. It's called prospecting. It sucks. Oh, I know it sucks. You know something? You still have to do it. So I'm gonna tell you a little secret. That's the whole reason. Now here's what happened. Like I said, no gap. We go back to pre-20s, right? Rich get richer. We get an honest return. And if the customers, they can have honest, hey, yeah, we're trying to compensate you for your loss because you're not selling as much as you would like. You just have a direct conversation with them instead. Yeah, the sales team makes it's a dark cloud of darkness, right? It's just a cloud of deception. Right, it's not like the billionaires aren't at fault, right? They treat their employees like crap, but I'm just saying, everyone participated. Right, there needs to be a pushback against people who hate email marketing, right? I literally got banned when I was private message, because people were annoying. I'm okay with disagreement. People find me awkward, that's fine. People did this back then. Jesus did it back then too. So did everyone in the Bible. Think God got his disciples just one day? Right. Instagram has to do that someday. TikTok too. Like, you don't have to do it all the time, right? You can choose, but you still have to do email marketing. Who's gonna buy those Yeezy sneakers, right? Maybe you're helping Kanye sell in some units. People go to school to explicitly avoid doing this shit. That doesn't mean you should go and attack it at the same time. Because then once email marketing gets completely taken down, and like tools like that, then there's no point in hiring for computer programmers, right? Anyways, I don't know what this chapter is about. I don't even pay attention. It just looks like cool artwork. I just use it to start a conversation, right? Right? When you start a conversation, that's when you can start introducing complexity into the system, right? And start branching off into other topics people actually find important. Yeah. It's right. It's what it is. We'll see. I don't know. I guess this guy almost won or something. I guess I could.